Hi everyone, okay, video number 19 now of the DVD collection, alphabetical order. There's a playlist on my channel as well. Here we go. First up is Spaceways. This is from 1953. Now, amusingly, this one gets billed as being the first British science fiction film since the 1936 Things to Come, and it's also billed as being Hammer's first entry into the science fiction genre. However, don't let that quite fool you, because actually this is mostly a murder mystery that's set on the ground. There is a little bit of space adventure towards the end. The actual plot of this one is really quite ridiculous, but that's what makes it actually quite endearing. So yeah, this is kind of naff, but I do enjoy it. Directed by Terence Fisher and starring Howard Duff and Eva Bartok. This is a TV miniseries of The Spanish Princess, adapted from a Philippa Gregory novel. I am Spartacus. No, I'm Spartacus. Kirk Douglas in the classic Stanley Kubrick movie. Great stuff. Natasha Henstridge in Species. And Species 2, which actually, I think I actually enjoyed this one a little bit more than the first one. Daniel Craig as Bond in Spectre. And Keanu Reeves, Dennis Hopper, Sandra Bullock, Speed. From the Wachowskis, who did The Matrix, this is Emile Hirsch in Speed Racer. Elvis and Nancy Sinatra in Speedway. Pablo Larraín's Spencer, starring Kristen Stewart. Pablo Larraín had also done Jackie with Natalie Portman, both really interesting. Henry Fonda and Maureen O'Hara in Spencer's Mountain. Based on Michael Crichton's novel, this is Sphere, starring Sharon Stone, Dustin Hoffman and Samuel L. Jackson, directed by Barry Levinson. Part of the Asia Extreme series, this is the South Korean movie Spider Forest. And Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man. And Spider-Man 2. Really excellent animation in this one, in Spider-Man Into the Universe. Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd in John Landis's Spies Like Us. Elvis Presley in Spin Out. From 1945 and directed by Robert Siodmak, this is Dorothy Maguire in The Spiral Staircase. And written and directed by Frank Miller, who also did Sin City, this is The Spirit. Grizzly Adams himself, Dan Haggerty in Spirit of the Eagle. And classic Studio Ghibli, Spirited Away. Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah in Splash, although I have to say my favourite mermaid movie is Miranda, starring Glynis Johns. Adrian Brody and Sarah Polley in Splice. James McAvoy in multiple roles in Split for M. Night Shyamalan. Terrific Oscar-winning movie, Spotlight. I've talked about this one before on my channel, Spring and Port Wine, starring James Mason and Susan George. Quite fond of this one. From director Kim Ki-duk, this is Spring, Summer, Winter, Fall and Spring. John Leguizamo, Brittany Murphy and Jason Schwartzman in Spun. And the great Leslie Nielsen in Spy Hard. And this one is The Square, but not the Ruben Östlund movie. This one is actually directed by Nash Edgerton, brother of Joel Edgerton, who also has a co-starring role in this. Noah Baumbach's The Squid and the Whale with Jeff Daniels and Laura Linney. And back to the 80s, Joel Schumacher's St. Elmo's Fire. Charles Bronson and Jacqueline Bisset in St. Ives, directed by J. Lee Thompson. And quite a fun one this, Bill Murray, Melissa McCarthy and Naomi Watts in St. Vincent. 1943 all-star cast movie from director Frank Borzage, Stage Door Canteen. And a classic from 1952, directed by Billy Wilder. This is a prisoner of war drama, starring William Holden, Stalag 17. Rob Reiner's classic, Stand By Me. And Judy Garland and James Mason in the 1954 version of A Star Is Born. With Barbara Streisand and Chris Christopherson in the 1976 version. J.J. Abrams' reimagining of Star Trek. And Star Trek Into Darkness. Star Trek The Motion Picture. The Wrath of Khan. Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. All of these Platinum Edition ones have lots of extra features on them. So I do have a Blu-ray which actually puts all of the Star Trek movies together, but I've kept these because of the sheer volume of special features that are on them. Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. Star Trek First Contact. Star Trek Generations. Star Trek Insurrection. And Star Trek Nemesis. Star Wars The Phantom Menace. Now, yeah, when it comes to the Star Wars movies, for sure, yes, I have them all. I have all the originals on very good Laserdisc box set editions. I've got the original versions before George Lucas tinkered with them, and then I have Blu-ray sets as well. So I'm not showing the originals on DVD because I don't have them on DVD, but I have them on other formats. But yeah, in terms of DVD, here we go with The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. One of the few films from Matthew Vaughn that I've enjoyed. This is Stardust. Excellent movie this from John Carpenter, Starman, with a great performance from Jeff Bridges and Karen Allen in it as well. Really good. Intense performances from Sean Penn, Gary Oldman and Ed Harris in Phil Joannou's State of Grace. Late career Norman Jewison film The Statement with Michael Caine. Love this movie. The Station Agent with Peter Dinklage, Bobby Cannavale and Patricia Clarkson. Jodie Foster and Mark Harmon in Stealing Home. And from 1937, Barbara Stanwyck in Stella Dallas. Documentary here, Steve McQueen, American Icon. And the classic The Sting with Robert Redford and Paul Newman. From director Park Chan-wook, this is Stoker with Nicole Kidman and Mia Wasikowska and Matthew Good. And absolutely one of the very best concert movies ever put on film. This is Jonathan Demme's Stop Making Sense with Talking Heads. Hammer movie directed by Val Guest, Stop Me Before I Kill. And a great Australian movie which I loved as a kid, Storm Boy. Another Hammer movie, this is Rita Tushingham and Shane Bryant in Straight On Till Morning. And love this movie too, Richard Farnsworth and Sissy Spacek in David Lynch's The Straight Story. Paul Le Mat and Nancy Allen in Strange Invaders. And this one gave me the creeps, Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman in The Strangers. Now it seems that actually Rennie Harlin is doing a trilogy follow-up of The Strangers. That's in production at the moment. I think the first one is coming out this summer. Classic Hitchcock with Farley Granger, Strangers on a Train. And a journey into the Gobi Desert. This is The Story of the Weeping Camel. Sonny Chiba in The Street Fighter. And a really excellent Fox Film Noir movie this, with Richard Widmark, The Street with No Name. Great movie. One of my favourites, I have it on Laserdisc and Blu-ray as well. This is Streets of Fire from Walter Hill. Absolutely great performance from Michael Paré. Really wish this series could have continued, but yeah, I love this movie. Following on from the Western miniseries Lonesome Dove, this is another adaptation of a Larry McMurtry novel, Streets of Laredo. And Baz Luhrmann's Strictly Ballroom. Bruce Willis in Striking Distance, directed by Rowdy Herrington. And Bill Murray in Stripes, directed by Ivan Reitman. Kurt Russell in his Disney years in The Strongest Man in the World. And a fun one this from Larry Cohen. This is The Stuff. Good one this, cult classic really. Directed by Richard Rush. This is Peter O'Toole and Steve Railsback, The Stuntman. And this is the first film I saw from director Luc Besson. This is Christopher Lambert and Isabelle Adjani in Subway. Pretty good one this, directed by Peter Hyams, action in a hockey stadium. This is Jean-Claude Van Damme in Sudden Death. And this is a poor DVD edition, but a good movie, Suddenly with Frank Sinatra. Directed by Sarah Gavron, this is Kerry Mulligan, Meryl Streep and Helena Bonham Carter in Suffragettes. And a really good early movie from Steven Spielberg with Goldie Hawn and William Atherton on the run in The Sugarland Express. Pretty awful this really, David Ayer's Suicide Squad. And from director Takashi Miike, Sukiyaki Western Django. Tom Hanks landing a plane on the Hudson River in Clint Eastwood's Sully. And a nice one this, Richard Egan, Dorothy Maguire and Sandra Dee in A Summer Place. Joanne Woodward in Summer Wishes, Winter Dreams, directed by Gilbert Cates, who also did I Never Sang for My Father. And Tyrone Power and Ava Gardner in The Sun Also Rises, directed by Henry King. Directed by Fred Zinnemann, this is Robert Mitchum, Deborah Carr, Peter Ustinov and Glynis Johns in The Sundowners. Okay, another pause there. Let me know your comments on any of those movies. Like I say, follow the playlist if you want to see the others in this collection series. Hope to see you again for the next lot. Okay, all the best. Bye-bye.